everyone, and welcome to another edition of Soulivity Live. We want to say hello again to everyone around the world. My name is Brian Westley Johnson, and we have a great show for you tonight. I want to begin by saying, a few weeks ago, I told the story of Tim and Nina Zagat, the enormously successful couple that created Zagat.com. And while most of us think that these kinds of success stories are unusual or rare, I believe that the exact opposite is true, especially when you factor in all the people that chose to live their dreams. Like, for instance, there's a story of Laura Ingalls Wilder, who at 43, and with some encouragement from her daughter, wrote memoirs of her life in rural America. Now, about 20 years later, at the age of 65, she finished her first book called Little House in the Big Woods. Now, that title may sound a little bit familiar to those my age and above, because that book turned into later one of the longest running series in TV history called Little House on the Prairie. Or maybe you've heard of Stan Lee. Now, my guy friends probably know who Stan Lee is. He's the comic creator of the Marvel Universe. And, he created titles like Spider-Man and Silver Surfer and hundreds of more characters. But what you may not know is that Stan Lee created his first title, The Fantastic Four, at the age of 39. So my point in saying all this is, it doesn't matter if you're young or old. All you have to do is begin. So let me quote these words to you. Everyone has talent that they possess or mission to complete, but few see it and choose to neglect their gift. God has given you a reason for your walk, but you have to see it through. Unwrap yourself, shed this world, because your present lies dormant within you. These inspirational words are from a brand new book by poet and author Amani Abdul. Her book is called Chasing Peace, Freeing Your Spirit and Releasing Your Soul. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. She's our guest tonight, and I am so honored to have her on the show. So with that, let me see and let me get her on air with us. There she is. Hey, sis, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. I'm fantastic. How are you?
Oh, well, let's go ahead and get this thing started. I love the book. I absolutely love it. I'm on my second read already. So, yeah. Yeah, so
that's a good thing.
It's really, really, really good. So, in effect, everybody, we're going to have all the information about the book on the website. So after the show, you'll be able to go and look it up with the final version of this video. So, Amani, let's get to some questions. I know we talked a bit about this before, but how did you come to choose the title, Chasing Peace? I mean, why that title?
For me, the title was a little personal, because throughout my younger years, I felt like I was spinning, trying to find that peace, right? Being in Detroit, running the streets, having a bunch of people around me that kind of drained that energy. So it started there. But as I started to research and to grow spiritually, I came to realize that there is nothing about chasing peace. Your peace is within you. You can't chase it. You can't find it. Someone can't give it to you.
Yeah.
It's within you all along. It's just about how do we go about kind of silencing the noise, getting rid of the drama, the toxic energy. You know, how do we do that to get to a place to we're so in peace with ourselves? You know, we're good being who we are, where we are, at whatever point that life kind of sticks us with those little crazy experiences, we're still at peace knowing everything is unfolding due to divine planning, you know? So that's where it started.
Yeah, now, you said that this is real personal to you. Why is it personal?
It's a transition that I went through that I believe we all go through, right?
Yeah.
Because this life is not just about being here. It's more than that. But how do we find the more than that? You know, how do we live our purpose? How do we even know what our purpose is, right? So I chose to study and research and heal myself. You know, you can go through to a therapist and to your friends and through all these different experiences and trying to get other people's input, but really one can heal themselves.
Yeah.
But you have to do the work.
Right.
And for me, it started with a whole, hey, how do I get that self-healing? You know, how do I stop the battle between the darkness and the light within me that's constantly kind of bumping heads? And a lot of people don't understand that everything is energy, right? Everything around us is energy. People, places, things, doesn't matter, right? Yeah. Food, color is energy. Right. And once you learn how to tap into that specific energy that you want, you could really create the life that you want.
Wow.
But it's all about centering yourself and understanding that it's vibration, it's frequency. Right. And once you place yourself within that vibration and radiate within that frequency, then you can create your own reality.
Wow. That I completely agree with you. I want to remind our family out there that this is an interview and a discussion between me and Amani, you get a chance to participate. So you can ask us questions throughout the show. At the end, we'll try to get to as many of them as possible. You know, Amani, I love the way that the book is broken up into bite-sized pieces, right? It's not too heavy where you just stop and that kind of thing. In part one, you talk about what's living inside you, right? What do you want people to understand about that concept? About what is the what's living inside us?
Again, it's energy. So we are created from energy. We are energetic beings. And so you have to understand that anything we come in contact with gets absorbed. And so we can absorb energy, we can pass energy, it's interactive. So when you've gone through life and you've encountered different people, different situations, whatever it may be, and then you've got light and dark within you, right? So if we want to go to the word, God said, let there be light. So darkness had existed first, wasn't light. And so dark and light are simultaneous, right? So you have to understand that everything that's happening within you is either from a dark place or a light place, right? It's the angel and the devil within you. There is nothing else. It's that battle within, and we get this negative vibe from our mind that we tend to listen to sometimes. Right. And everybody goes through it, right?
Right.
So the noise and the voice, and it's like, and those are not your thoughts, right? So, but people don't understand that. They're not your thoughts. It's your negative mind feeding into whatever situation that you're going through, that you've gone through, or that you've seen. And it's feeding that negativity. It needs to feed into that. And so we allow it to fester. And I kind of mentioned in there about music. Like music is such a huge play when it comes to energy and vibration. And we tend to listen to songs based on how we feel a lot of times, right? So when we're depressed, we listen to these depressive songs and it keeps negative vibrational energy around us. And it's like we were sucked into this negative vacuum. So I tell people, you know, if you're in a depressed state, you know, listen to happy.
Right.
You know, play for yourself. You know, you want something more uplifting that will change that mood, because your mood dictates what you put out. Right? You're an energetic being, so you put your transmitter, you transmit that energy out there, and however you're feeling is transmitted back to you. So it's an exchange of energy at all times.
You know, what you're talking about reminds me of some of the great teachers and prophets talk about, you know, higher mind, lower mind, you know, ego being, you know, 5 cents. If I can't see it, it's not there and I don't trust it, as opposed to higher mind where you're more in tune. You also talked about in the book around relationships, which is a very, very important part and vital part to like holistic health, right? What you're talking about. And you talk about energy exchanges. Can you go a little deeper with that and tell us a little bit more about how this works, how the energy exchange works?
So energy exchange is because you have a positive and a negative energy within you. Whatever is around you most is going to attract that energy, right? So if you are in a bad or toxic relationship, then that's pretty much what you're going to stay in until you change that energy. And so when you're in that vibration, right, and you feel somebody or your mate is coming at you, it's really not personal. It's how they're feeling. And so that energy starts to clash. And we don't understand that a lot of the times our negative mind, right, because it wants to feed on negative energy, causes issues with our relationships. You know, we have different energetic beings that we encounter, and there are good spirits and bad spirits. We're all spirits. But there are good spirits and bad spirits. And so if you're hanging around a bunch of bad spirits, then you're going to take on their bad energy. And then what happens is, so your mate or your spouse or whomever might be doing the same thing. They might be hanging around some people. And so now negative and negative, right? They attract. So you think that this is between you guys, and it's really not even personal. You just need to be still and understand, hey, we could work this out. Like, this is just, we're in a bad vibrational state. How do we get past it? You know, we stay in toxic relationships, not understanding, hey, I could do better. This is not the energy I want, because you repeat the same cycle when you continue to allow that same energy in. So,
wow, it sounds like too, like in these relationships, especially your close relationships, both people don't need to stay in that same position, right? They can shift out of it and connect in a more positive way.
But I think ego plays a part in that. And so a lot of people, it's funny because a lot of people say, oh, it's my ego. It's my ego. What they don't understand is when you say it's my ego, you're operating from your lower self. You're not operating. It's not a compliment.
Right.
It's not a compliment. You know, it's saying, hey, you're on a low vibrational field. Like, how do you elevate past that ego?
Right.
And so once you start pushing your ego, your pride aside and operating from a place of love, you know, how would I treat somebody I love? Am I going to play tit for tat? You know, am I going to play games? Am I going to disrespect them? Am I going to, you know, cheat on them? That's not what you do when you're operating from a place of love. That's what you do when you operate from a place of ego and
Right.
pride, you know. So once people understand, and that's why I kind of divided the book up the way I did. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted people to understand whatever they're going through, they can go to that point in the book and say, oh, I can understand where Amani's coming from.
Uh,
And I
okay.
wanted it to be like a simple read. I didn't want to overpower, bombard. You know, I wanted it to be simple and easy, a weekend read that anybody could do
Wow.
and
Well, I mean,
actually gain something from it.
yeah, I mean, it's very practical. You know, I love, you know, though I love books that are very deep and intense and that kind of thing. Once you get past the basic concept, right, you kind of want to go into, okay, how do I do this on a daily kind of basis?
Right,
What's
right,
my practice?
right.
You know,
Yeah.
now speaking of practice, you talk a lot about how to cultivate a positive attitude, right? Because it's like important to stick in this higher level energy, that kind of thing. What are some of the things that you do to kind of like keep that energy going?
I do meditate. I meditate a lot. Now, I will say I try to stay on that high energy, but there are times, you know, you have those few people you just want to be
I
like,
think we
really?
all do. I think we all try.
You tested my chakras today, you know. But no, I try. But I listen to like I wake up and actually play, you know, meditation music.
Right.
I do my yoga. I meditate.
Mm-hmm.
I pray. I try to help people understand how to heal and get past their issues and whatever they're going through. And it really helps when you know someone has been where you've been or where you are, you know, or where you might be going. You know, if I can redirect you based on my experiences, let me help you do that, you know. So those are the things I try to eat right. That's very, very important because you are what you eat. So if we're consuming a lot of dense food with a lot of dense energy, then we lower our vibration. If we eat a lot more, you know, healthy foods, natural foods, holistic foods, that heightens our vibration. So we become lighter beings. Right. So I try to do various things to kind of keep me centered most of the time.
Wow. And you know, again, it's a process, right? I mean, you know,
absolutely a process.
You aim for the vision, you aim for the higher goal, right? And you don't beat yourself up if you slip up from now and then. You just keep moving forward, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of like first steps, like if you met someone and they said, okay, you know, Amani, I'm ready to take my very first step in moving into higher energy, more positive energy, higher mind, what would you tell them to do?
The first thing I would suggest is getting rid of the toxic energy around you.
Okay.
You know, that is so important for you to center yourself. You know, we have energy drainers and friends, family, colleagues. I mean, they're constantly pulling at us, right? And we don't know how to say, hey, no, you can deal with people, but you control that, right? You control when and whatever you want, if it's within, you know, that means. But I believe the first thing you do is get rid of the dead weight, get rid of the toxic energy that's around you, because that is the worst thing that can really pull you down. And then we can work on, you know, meditation and maybe clearing out your home and making sure that it's peaceful and serene. So when you come home, you're like, oh, now like, oh my God, you know. So that's important. And then you can go into the more, you know, internal, holistic foods and music and all of that. But the first thing is you want to get rid of all that toxic drama around you.
Yeah, because I mean, the drama is drama. I mean, you can meditate, you can pray, you can eat right.
Yeah.
But if those folks are still hanging around, calling, stopping by, all that just weighs you down.
It sucks it all back out. You're like, you don't back into the toxic pool. It's like, no. That was like one of the first things I noticed is when I started removing some of those drama pieces,
Mm-hmm.
I was a little bit more still,
Right.
So that's the first step.
Right. Now
And
go ahead. Go ahead.
it's hard. You don't want to cut your friends off or a family but listen, my peace comes first. So it depends
Right.
on what you want. Me, my peace comes first. If you
Right.
come and try to disturb my peace, I can't have you do that. And so
Yeah.
that's very important
I mean,
to
because
live a healthy life.
Because there's a
Yeah,
way of going about doing this, guy.
absolutely.
Everybody out
Yeah.
there. I mean, it's not like you just cuss somebody out.
Don't beat them up and say, don't come here anymore.
There's ways of setting boundaries, because I think that's what we're talking, right? We're talking setting up boundaries, saying, okay,
right.
okay, I've talked to you today, I've reached my limit,
Right.
and say that however you need to say it. But
yeah.
Now I wanted to know if you had any kind of Amani is an excellent poet.
Oh.
I mean,
can't remember anything, but yes, thank you.
I was gonna put you on the spot and have you like drop us some knowledge. But we'll do it next time. How about that?
Yeah, poetry next time.
Amani, as I read through the book, especially in the end, because it is about releasing your soul, and it's really about connecting with the innermost part of you, where now you're living from that space. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit more about the feeling of releasing your soul. I mean, what's the practical kinds of things that people may happen in their life around that? Like, what are the outcomes?
The most beautiful thing is that even though no day is perfect, right? You will find a perfection in it. When you're at peace, when you have freed your spirit, right? And your soul is actually mind. So when you have freed your mind from the bondage of the everyday life programs, when you start to just go within and be at peace with yourself and be one and whole with you, you become really unapologetically unapologetic about life in general. Okay. You're in such a peace that regardless of what goes on around you, it really doesn't disturb your core. Okay. You can get upset because that's life. I mean, we're human, but it's still not going to have the effect of, oh my God, mm-hmm. How am I going to handle this? Life is all about experiences, and experiences is what makes us grow. And to whatever level that life takes you, there are different levels to this game. So mm-hmm. whatever level it takes you, that experience was meant to give you that push, that advance, to help you navigate through whatever situation is to come. And so that's what people need to understand. And when you find that peace within, you're still. It's exhilarating. The scary part is once you find it, mm-hmm. you enjoy being with yourself and by yourself so much that you kind of like yourself, right? You're
right,
like,
right.
I don't have to go out. So I'm cool chilling, right?
Exactly.
Right, because you're so good in your own skin. You feel good in your skin.
And do you find too that when you're in that space, you start attracting in like-minded folks and people
absolutely
who in your peace?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. You start to attract the good people and the good vibrations, and you're always going to have the scragglers, but right. You're always going to, whatever energy you're putting out, that's the energy you're going to get back. I'm a firm believer in that.
As you were talking, it reminds me of the metaphor of spiraling upward, mm-hmm. right?
Yep, absolutely, yeah.
that what you're telling people is a process at which to begin that process of spiraling upward, so that you're not flat or going down, or digging yourself deeper into a hole, which is depression and all those kinds of things, that you're able to grow. Because like you said, there are challenges that are going to come our way. There's going to be people that are going to come into our life that we're going to have to deal with and find whatever peaceful resolution around that is, and that will move forward and move forward and move forward. Amani, so tell us about what are the things that you're doing right now? I mean, we've got the book, and that's on Amazon, right? That's available on Amazon. Is it available?
It's also on my website, AmaniAbdul.com. I started a yoga line.
All right.
So I'm going to come out with my second design shortly. I started with my first one, which is, let me show y'all. It's the Eye of Ra.
Wow.
And the Om symbol.
Woo. Hey.
And on the back, it says seek knowledge, or see knowledge, with the 1K to represent the one eye.
Perfect.
Which is your third eye.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
Yeah, so I'm working on a couple of things. I'm also working on a new poetry CD called Euros. So hopefully,
what's the old one? What's the name of the old one, and where can people get it?
Muse is on iTunes, Amazon, and CD Baby.
Wow. Yeah. Well, y'all, chasing peace, freeing.
Chasing peace.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, y'all. I mean, this is where the rubber hits the road, and you can learn all the inspirational concepts and all those kinds of things. But Amani has really shared with us like practical kinds of things you can do every day that gets you into the practical experience of living those things every single day. So Amani, girl, thank you. Would you come back? Would you come back again?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
And maybe we'll dive a little bit deeper into a certain part of the book and kind of share that kind of thing, because I think it's, again, each one of these parts that are there are really, really good in of itself, that a person can kind of like, okay, I'm going to take this lesson today and work on this over a period of time, then move to the next piece. So would love to have you back, and I'm glad that you're willing to do that. So recommend go out and get the book today. Again, we'll have some information on our website as well, so that you can purchase the book. I highly recommend it. Amani, thank you again, girl.
Thank you, my dear. I appreciate you.
All right.
Bye.
Well, with that, I'm going to say, this is Brian Westley Johnson saying thanks to all of you for joining us. And of course, as always, wishing you light, love, peace, passion, and of course, happy living. Good night.
Bye-bye.